video, I'm going to be making braised pork chops with 2 wines from The Essentials of Classic Italian Cuisine by Marcela Hazan. I've cooked from this book before, and this one is just one of my favorites to go back to because every single recipe is just banger after banger after banger. This one sounds like a pretty plain Jane recipe, but it's actually like this really rich wine reduction sauce with these long braised pork chops. It's even got a flourish of this green sort of vegetable at the very end that goes into the sauce. And it's just such a good weeknight meal. And once you get it down, you can make it really easily and quickly. And you can just add it to your repertoire of your weeknight meals. So let's go ahead and hop into the kitchen because I think y'all are going to want to make this one. I'm going to get started by heating up 3 tablespoons of olive oil over medium heat in a pan large enough to hold both chops in a single layer. And in the meantime, we're going to make a bit of broth here to go with it. So we're going to get a tablespoon of tomato paste. And this is the 2 wines that the book talks about in the recipe. So this is Marsala Wine, and we're going to put half a cup of that in. And then it says a young red wine from Italy, so it specifically recommends a Barbera in the recommendation area of the cookbook. So that's what I went ahead and bought because it's not terribly expensive or difficult to find. So we're also going to put in half a cup of that. And then we're just going to mix this up to get the tomato paste dissolved, and then we'll set this aside to use this for later. Now I've got a plate of flour set up here and a couple of pork chops that I have patted dry, and we're just going to dredge those in the flour. And shake off any excess. And then we're just going to lay these in the oil and let them cook for about 2 minutes each side until the sides are nice and browned. We've got some nice color on these chops now. So we're going to add about a teaspoon of chopped garlic to this mixture, and we're just going to let it cook until the garlic turns gold, which will happen very quickly. Now that we've fried off the garlic, we're going to add our tomato paste and wine mixture to this. As well as about a 1/4 teaspoon of fennel seeds, and then salt and pepper to taste. And we're going to let this bubble. Now at this point, it depends on how thick your chops are as to how long this can take. Really thick chops can take up to an hour. I'm at about the halfway point of cooking these, and you can see a very rich, thick gravy is starting to develop. I just turned them once, and you're going to want to turn them at least one time yourself to get them cooked on both sides. But yeah, man, this is really smelling and looking good, and definitely baste them just a little bit as well to make sure you're getting them to be nice and juicy when we're done. All right, I'm going to go ahead and cover this back up and go ahead and finish the second half of the cook. And these look and smell really good. So we're going to go ahead and put in about a tablespoon of just fresh chopped Italian parsley. And then we're just going to turn these over a couple times in the sauce and get them all just sort of, everything sort of mixed in together here. All right, now we're going to remove the meat to its final plate. And once we do that, we're going to go ahead and turn the heat up to high. And we're going to add half a cup of water to this mixture. And with a plastic or a wooden utensil, we're just going to let this get back to a boil, and we're going to scrape off and deglaze the bottom of that pan to get any good bits that are hiding down therein. And then we're just going to let this boil until this gravy gets thick. And I just wanted to show you the wonderful thick consistency. This is going to continue to thicken as it cools down a bit, but this is what you're going for after you reduce your liquid. We've got these wonderful finished chops here, and now we're just going to add the gravy to go with them here. And of course, because we have to be a little bit bougie, the last thing to do is just to add a little hint of green on the top so we can pretend like we're not just being carnivores tonight. And there we go. That is the dish. I picked this dish out because it doesn't have a fancy sounding name, right? It doesn't have chicken marsala, chicken cacciatore, or anything like that. It's just braised pork chops with 2 wines. But man, this is a really good recipe. It's not just a pork chop and a demi-glaze. That fennel seed gives it this really unique flavor. And even the parsley is contributory because it gives it a little bit of just a fresh pop at the very end. So I encourage you to make this. You can also check out some of my other Italian videos. I've got a few at this point, so go ahead and check those out. And if you enjoy my videos, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you at the next one.